It's always a pleasure to start my day to welcome you here. So all of you, truly welcome here. And let's begin with a prayer for purification. So hands on your heart. If you'd like, you could close your eyes. Inhale and exhale, slowly, gently. Nourishing your heart, nourishing your soul. Divine Supreme Being, God, let your fire purify my mind and cleanse all ugly and dark thoughts existing in my mind. Dear God, let your fire purify my heart and burn all feelings that are negative, painful, and separative. Dear God, restore your fire in my heart, give me courage, and let your fire shine in all my thoughts, feelings, and actions. Fill all my being with love and bliss, so that I radiate your presence. Fill all my being with love and bliss, so that I radiate your presence. You may gently open your eyes. So continuing from last week, there's a phrase in Zen. There are only two things. You sit and you sweep the garden, and it doesn't matter how big the garden is. That is, you quiet the mind and tend the heart. And then you get up and you tend the garden. So really a mindful, loving presence as you quiet yourself in this turning of the seasons, and then a mindful, loving response. And we learn these inner capacities when we sit in meditation, our spiritual gardening, to be with all the waves of emotion and doubt and thought and all the things, the beautiful things and the joy that opens and then the closing again, the contraction and opening and closing, just as the body breathes. The emotions in the heart, they opens and closes. And the mind also opens fast and then it closes in its ideas. And we just learn to be with all those waves. That inner gardening gives us the same capacities that we will need in tending the world. In our love relationship, whether it's a loving partner or family member or community, but especially that time when you fall in love with somebody and it seems so wonderful. And they just seem so compatible and magical and special, and you just love it and think that everything's going to be great. You know how it works? And then you decide to live together and have a family. Perhaps you start a business together, you buy property, and you make a whole tribe or whatever you do. And then at some point this little thing starts to happen. We could call disappointment. They just fall off the pedestal. You see their messy humanity like your own. And you get irritable or they are irritable. One of you gets anxious, the other gets judgmental. It's very interesting. Jack Cornfield, a Buddhist teacher, he was sharing that before he got ordained as a monk, he used to perform weddings. And he would have the two partners who are going to be married at some point in the ceremony look at one another, and he would say, do you take this person as is, as is. Because that's really what love is. There's one way to be in relationship, which is attachment, and you want something from them, and it's a sort of a business deal. They give you and you give them. And then there's another way in which you, as the Buddhas, the wise ones, the compassion, that goddess Kuan Yin, see the beautiful spirit behind the eyes of this person. And your love is simply like the gardener to say, I'm here for you. And I want to support you to blossom and grow in whatever way you can. That is the game. And that you learn in your inner life and then translate it in relationship, in every relationship. And it doesn't mean that there will be no moments of anger or irritation. But when it arises, then one can just look at the person, step back. Step back from the place of loving awareness and see her or him, as a little tiny, as a little girl or a little boy, 1 or 2 years old, daddling around. Or perhaps see him or her as 5 or 6 or 7, just teasing and running around, a kind of innocence and mischievousness. Or see him or her as like a young teenager, 13, 14 years old. That kind of brightness and curiosity and exploratory nature. Or then see them as a young man or a young woman, courageous and daring greatly, fearless. Or even see her or him now and see this whole arc of being and the mystery behind it, and the joys and the suffering that they've been through. As you step back and get quiet and gaze in that way, instead of the judgment, you will just feel a gratitude and an ability to love and be present. Be present for the mystery of this other person. And it's the same gardening with parenting. You know, we have these kids and they are small and they try to put everything in their mouth, and then they're a little older and they hit each other with blocks and we have to socialize them. Then they start careening down the street with their bicycle and they fall off, and you have to take care of them when they hurt themselves. And then they hit puberty. And what do you do with that teenage angst? And then there's sexuality and drugs and alcohol, and suddenly you realize they are not who you think they should be. And you get through all of that and then they leave you. How do you do it? You do it as a gardener. You water their beautiful seeds. You water the goodness in them as you do in yourself. And you tend them and you love them and you stay steady. Same thing in business. You'll have obstacles, not enough capital, the market changes, the competition can get stronger, the employees quit, whatever. You water the good seeds. And we all know it, that we need it now more than anything for social change. The divisiveness, the war, the racism. We know this. If we want the world to be different, we have to water the right seeds. And we have to see what really matters. We have to tend those seeds that matter the most. And I'm going to read something from Robert Kennedy. He was a United States presidential candidate in 1968. And this is from a speech he gave in the year before he was assassinated. So sometime in 1967. He was asked about his vision for the economy. Someone asked about gross national product. And Robert Kennedy, he just shook his head and said, gross national product does not include the beauty of our poetry, or the strength of our marriages, the intelligence of our public debate, or the integrity of our public officials. It allows neither for the justice in our courts, not for the justness of our dealings with each other. The gross national product measures neither our courage, neither our wisdom, nor our learning, neither our compassion, nor our devotion to country. It measures everything, in short, except that which makes life worthwhile. So, this is it. This is our garden. We have the garden of this beautiful planet and this beautiful life. How are we tending it? What seeds do we plant? What do you water? Henry David Thoreau said, "I do not believe that a plant will grow where there are no seeds. But convince me that you have planted a seed, and I'm prepared to expect miracles." So, when we sit in meditation, when we do our spiritual practice, our gardening as we call it, it's not a grim duty. It's not like I go to the gym, I have a good diet, I work out, I go to therapy, whatever. Now I'm going to meditate and make myself better. It's not about becoming a good meditator or having some extraordinary powers or special abilities. It's about one breath at a time, one plant at a time, one day, one moment. And to see the goodness in the seeds. Nelson Mandela also said it never hurts to see the goodness in another person. Just to acknowledge the goodness in another person, they often act the better because of it. And I'm going to share a personal story because I've directly experienced it. I used to make theatre with homeless young men from the INM market, and those of you who live in Delhi would know that area well. Now, these young men, they would come from different parts of the country, very, very poor backgrounds. And some of them even working with gangs or, drugs or all kinds of things. And some were aggressive. But if one looked deeply at them, one could see the secret beauty behind these posturing. They were mostly aggressive because they were just trying to save their own lives. And then you meet them exactly where they are. And I used to just love working with these young men. And, in groups of 30s, I would work with them, and I conducted several hundred hours of theatre labs. That would culminate into a production wherein we addressed issues like toxic masculinity, relationship between the oppressor and the oppressed, peer pressure, body shame, and so many issues like that. And then we would perform at different places in the city and also traveling to other cities. And I would also travel to Europe with their work. And they blossomed splendidly. It not only transformed their lives, but they became catalysts for social change in their communities. So, this is what we get to do. To say, I can water beautiful seeds in myself, and I can water beautiful seeds in others. I can take a walk, I stand still among the trees, as Mary Oliver says. And there's this beautiful poem where she writes, "When I am among the trees, especially the willows and honey locust, equally the beech, the tan oaks and the pines, they give off such hints of gladness. I would almost say they saved me, and daily. I'm so distant from the hope of myself, in which I have goodness and discernment, and never hurry through the world, but walk slowly and bow often. Around me, the trees stir in their leaves and call out, "Stay a while." The light flows from their branches and they call again. It's simple, they say. And you too have come into this world to do this, to go easy, to be filled with light, to shine. So much we all can do. We can do compassion practice, we can stand up for justice. And doing it not because we have to. It's not I have to, but because I get to. To change our language from I have to I get to. I get to tend this garden. Even with all the rusted cars and cement underneath. As Alan Chadwick found, we can tend this soil and make something really beautiful grow. There's a story, I read this a couple years ago, of this woman called Kathy Sneed. And she started a prison garden project in San Francisco some years ago, several years ago. And she was concerned about the soul death of so many people who were in the prison system. And so she began a project to allow any of those who are incarcerated to help plant a garden. And they were invited to grow vegetables in a garden plot behind one of the prison buildings. And through some fundraising, she got them seedlings and fertilizer and garden tools and whatever they needed to be able to grow a garden with their own hands, to be responsible for its blossoming, to overcome insect and weed and blight. And it brought out the best in these men who otherwise had been thrown away by the world. And come to think of it, we have so many millions in our racist poverty prison systems across the globe. And it changed them. And she talked about one macho giant saying, "Don't step on my babies," as she walked through the garden one day. The prison wardens were amazed by the change. The garden became so important to those who cared for these patches that their lives began to revolve around them. In fact, when the time came for some of these men to be released from prison, some purposely violated their parole so they could return to their gardens. So this led Kathy to the next step, a garden project for ex-prisoners that spread across the Bay Area, because the harvest that she was interested was not the fruits and vegetables, but it was the harvest of the souls and spirits of these men. So don't ever think this is not possible in this world. There is a fascinating book called The Better Angels of Our Nature. It's written by Steven Pinker, where he details with numbers the decrease in slavery in the world, even though it's still here in painful ways. The decrease in child abuse and child labor misuse, even though it's still here in ways. The decrease in warfare, even though it's still here over the centuries. The increase in the freedom that women experience, even though it's still terrible in many ways around the world. But when we look at centuries of human life on this earth through the lens of consciousness and care and improvement, we start to see that it's possible for us to change this world. Now that even though things seem difficult, we can do this. Now, the idea isn't to make it perfect, to make a perfect house and garden, where you get the camera and at the right angle. Okay, so somebody just asked the name of the book. It's written by Stephen Pinker and it's called The Better Angels of Our Nature. So the idea isn't to make it perfect, to make a perfect house a garden where you get the camera at the right angle and the right time of day and you put it in, online or somewhere, this showy garden, some ideal we have. It's a little bit like a cartoon that was in the New Yorker a few years ago. And it shows a couple of fish swimming in the depths of the ocean, and one fish talking to the other. And this fish says, I want the whole thing, the glass bowl, the blue pebbles, the little white castle. You know how we are? We always want something else. But the point isn't to make a perfect garden, the point is to perfect our love. To be able to take the garden that we've been given and finding ourselves the intention to turn it into beauty and to do it with joy. L.R. Nost writes, do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break and all things can be mended. Not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. This broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you. For the healing and the light and the water that you can offer to it. So let's just take a moment and reflect amidst the 10,000 joys and the 10,000 sorrows of life. What seeds do you most want to plant? And what seeds do you most want to water? To nourish? What are the seeds in yourself that are calling out to be watered and nourished? Your body and your heart. And what are the seeds in the world that you can care for? And as Buddha says, you can do this, O nobly born. You are the plough woman in that sutra, the ploughman. You are the one who tends this garden of the world. And this Mark Morford has written long ago. Stop thinking all these global crises are all there is. Realize that for every ongoing war and religious outrage and environmental devastation and every trouble of humanity, there are 1,000 counterbalancing acts of staggering generosity and humanity and art and beauty happening all over the world right now on a breathtaking scale, from flower box to cathedral. Resist the temptation to drown in fatalism, to shake your head and sigh and throw in the karmic towel. So remember, this is the perfect moment. We start where we are, with what we can, to change the energy of the world, to renew and envision the re-enchantment of the world, to step right up and crank up your personal volume, right when it might seem dark or bitter or offensive or acrimonious and conflicted. This is our opening, remember? This is our path. Believe in the seeds that you plant and water as part of a groundswell, a seemingly small but actually very large impending karmic shift, a foundational shift, the beginning of something important and beautiful and unstoppable that can grow with our care. Pablo Neruda says you can pick all the flowers, but you can't stop the spring. So it's never too late to start again wherever we are. This day we can forgive, we can let go. We can honor the secret beauty and mystery in every being. We can become that loving awareness. It is our true nature. We are consciousness itself, such a mystery. And we get to do something really beautiful with it. And this is why we do our spiritual practice. This is why we sit in meditation. And this is some way why we come together and hold hands with each other, even though it is virtual as we do right now, to share our care, our respect, our love, because this is who we really are. Plant beautiful seeds, love it all. Trust and faith is our seed. The attention is our effort to be present for what is. Compassion is our guide. And we too can do the plowing that brings freedom. Freedom of heart, freedom of spirit. So this is our task in this world, to just plant beautiful seeds, to till the soil with our hearts and to tend them. And now coming to our practice for today, but before we begin the practice, I just want to give you a very short context of how sometimes we might think negatively of ourselves, of our bodies. Something like, I'm not as beautiful as I should be, I'm fat, or I'm not as good as somebody else is, I'm bad at this, or I'm not good at something, or I'm whatever it is, I'm either too much or too less. Or sometimes we might also send a message to our body like, I just want to die. Or certain repetitive thoughts, life is not worth living, life is not fair, I'm a nobody, I'm not so lucky, I'm such a loser, I'm so messed up, whatever it is. I never get it right, I'm not deserving of love, of happiness. But can you imagine what kind of energy that is? It is harsh. It is cruel, and it is so powerful to send that sort of energy to ourselves. It's almost like we are punishing ourselves if we keep sending ourselves unkind, unloving, cruel messages. These kind of messages are devastating for our soul as well as for our immune system. In fact, for our entire body, making us so much more vulnerable to illnesses and imbalances. And so many have done that so many times in our life, and it becomes a habit. Just think of it, many times we don't even mean it. But the self hating part rises up automatically. And it has the same effect. Whether you mean it or not, our body still cringes. A dose of adrenaline and cortisol, the stress hormones, still released in our bloodstream. A sadness still sweeps through our body. I would say these messages are like death wishes, and we've sent many harsh messages to our body year after year. So eventually, what happens, the body just gets tired. And then it shows up in various ways in physical illnesses, various conditions of the physical body, in fatigue and pains and aches and tightness and heaviness of the body, dullness of the mind, mental health issues, relationships lose their authenticity. And then, perhaps for many, for some, an insight comes to them to be tender with themselves. And that's what we are going to be doing today, to hold our body with compassion, with tenderness, and to send love to it. So just please find a comfortable posture that you can just be at ease, whatever that looks like to you. There's no need to be sitting super straight, just to relax. It's most important. And then to bring attention to the body. Now, before you close your eyes, we will first set an intention to protect ourselves. To protect ourselves from our own injurious thoughts, words, and behaviors. Embracing ourselves and saying, I am sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. So just embrace yourselves and say that to yourselves. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't mean that. Please help me to take better care of you. Help me to take better care of you. And now I'm going to invite you to gently close your eyes. Bringing attention to the felt experience of being. I'm actually inhabiting this body. And all you need to do is repeat the simple phrases that I'm going to offer. Listen to them first, and then you say them quietly, silently to yourself. And that's the whole practice, to move your attention progressively through the body and offer these simple phrases with a gentle smile on your face. Like a half smile of the Buddha. So bringing attention first to the whole region of the head and neck. May my head be happy. May my face relax. May my neck be at ease. And then moving your attention just gently down to the shoulders and the arms. May my shoulders be relaxed and be at ease. Releasing any tension there. Gently lowering the shoulders a bit. And bringing your attention to your arms. The upper arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, and hands. May both arms be happy. And my both arms be relaxed. May my hands, my fingers, thumbs, back of the hands, wherever they are resting in my lap, may be at ease. Now bring attention to the front of your body. The whole region of the chest, diaphragm, belly, belly button, lower belly, may the front of my body relax and be happy. And remember to smile as you continue to send well-wishing to your chest area, diaphragm, your belly button, your lower abdomen. May my heart, my chest, my lungs be well and strong. May my abdomen, my belly be at ease. Soft, at ease, ease. And then gently bringing attention to the back. The upper back, your shoulder blades, middle back, and lower back, where so much tension is often held. Your whole spine, may my back be healthy and strong. May my back be relaxed and be free from pain, tension. Relaxed, relaxed, healthy, strong. May the hips, the bottom, may this whole area of my body be peaceful and relaxed. And then very gently bringing your attention to your thighs. May my thighs be happy, free from judgment, and strong. Moving your attention to your knees. Down to your lower legs. Ankles. May my legs, my whole legs, right leg, left leg, be relaxed, at ease. And then gently bringing your attention to your feet. Our feet that carry us everywhere, and wishing them well. May my feet, the soles of my feet, my heels, my toes, tops of the feet remain strong, at ease. The tips of my toes, at ease. Feet relaxed and being happy. Thank you, feet, for taking me where I need to go. And now just gently sweep your attention. There's a whole body from head to toe. May my whole body be free from pain. May my whole body be well. May my body be strong, healthy, and healed. Healed. May this whole body from head to toe be happy, relaxed, and at ease. Joy and peace fills every cell of your body. Every cell is alive with love. Every cell of your body is thriving, is flourishing, dancing in ecstasy. Blooming splendidly. the grace of healing is being poured abundantly into your whole being. Just relax into the healing process. And allow Spirit to do what it does. All healing energy flows through you now. Harmony, balance, vitality. That glorious wisdom that creates and sustains. Health is yours. Feel the gratitude and give thanks for the health of your body in whatever condition it may be in. Affirm softly, health is mine. I live in divine well-being now and always. Health is mine. I live in divine well-being now and always. I live in divine well-being now and always. Health is mine. And let's finish with a heart hug. This is one of my favorites. You can bring your hands up, cross your hands over your chest, place your fingers in your armpit, and have your thumb on wherever it falls on your chest. And just relax, breathing in and out, slowly, gently, deeply. And keep your eyes closed. In breath, out breath. Slow, deep, gentle breath in. And slow, deep, gentle breath out. And as you continue to give yourself a heart hug, know that this works with helping the electromagnetic energy field that's always moving through your body find its cohesion. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes with a big, big smile. Atma Namaste.